Hello, it's me, Mr. Peets. So this is going to be the very beginning of your project for the principles of design. And what we're going to do is, just for this portion, I'm going to have you do two things. You're just going to work on the emphasis portion and the movement, lines of movement. And I'll show you how to use a variety of tools, one of which is called the polyline tool. I'm going to show you how to use that so that you can draw out different shapes or even different lines that are unique to your specific image. So I'm just going to do an example, but you're not copying mine. You're going to submit your own version. I'm just merely using this to give you guys tips as to what you're going to do for your own project. So I already made the background white for you guys. If you want the background to be a different color, you can absolutely do that. I'm on my MacBook Air, so if I just kind of double tap, then the box comes up. I can go to background, change the background color to anything I want over here, or I can even make the background color a gradient. But I want to keep mine white just for now. Again, you can also hold down Control and then left click, and that the box will also pop up. If you're having issues still, just send me a comment in Google Classroom and I will change it for you because I can access your file while you guys are working on it. So just let me know. A couple of you guys did that already. So we're going to start off with the emphasis. Some of you guys said, oh, Mr. Peets, can I put a shape behind my emphasis? And I said, sure, absolutely. So what you're going to do is you're going to come over here to Shape, and I'm going to choose a rectangle. Again, you can choose whatever you want. If you wanted to do an oval, you would choose the circle tool here, and then you would make an oval. The rectangle can also be squares. If you want a perfect square, then you just hold down Shift, and then go ahead and click and drag, and you get a perfect square, whatever size you want. Okay? And that is a perfect square. But I'm going to delete that. I don't want that. I actually want I would like to have a nice rectangle. So I'm going to make my rectangle. I'm just going to go ahead and start drawing. Doesn't matter where. I'm going to put it about right here. And I could always change the shape of this later. But I want to put my shape down first. That's super, super important. Okay, then I'm going to go in and find that image that I wanted for my emphasis. So I'm going to go over here to Insert, Image, and then if you have something on your computer that you want to upload, you can. I'm going to go to search the web. This one's just a little bit easier for me, and it uses non-copyrighted images, so you can go this route. If you're searching through this, because I actually kind of find this to be very limiting, you can actually open a new tab and go on Google Images and then find something else from there. All right. I mean, as long as you're not selling it, you're not going to be held to copyright infringement laws. Okay, so I'm going to use the Netflix logo. Okay, and then these pop up. I'm going to do the old school Netflix logo. All right, and then so I click that. You see a little check mark, and then on the bottom it says Insert. So I'm going to go ahead and insert that, and that pops up. All right. From here, I can actually take this and I can manipulate the actual image. I want to make it a little bit smaller. So from that corner, I'm dragging it down, and then I can move this, and then I could put it on top of my rectangle. It needs to be a little bit smaller, so I'm going to just go ahead and do that. Okay, now it kind of fits inside of here. Now my rectangle, I want it to be somewhat proportional to this red block. So I'm going to click this, and I'm just going to kind of fix it up a little bit, fix the corners. Usually the corners that are opposite each other are the ones that I usually work with. Now the rectangle is different. But the reason why I put the rectangle in first is because whatever you add to it will automatically go on top of that shape. You can't switch which shape goes on top of which. So the Netflix logo, because that's the newest thing I added to this file, is going to be above the rectangle itself, right? I mean, I could just take this rectangle and move it, see? But it's always going to be underneath that Netflix logo. All right, and then if I really want to do some little touches, I can highlight this, see how it's slightly off, and then just use my arrows out on my keyboard and then kind of fix it up like that. Or I can kind of mess around with it, make it a little bit bigger, just like this. Yeah, okay. All right, not perfect, but you know, we're getting there. Now, the other thing too is you'll notice that there's this like black line around this rectangle. I want to get rid of that black line, but I also want to change the inside color, that light blue. I want to get rid of that light blue. So here's what you do. You highlight the rectangle, and you have fill color, and you have border color. If I want to get rid of that border, I go click the border color here. It looks like a little pencil. All right, click that and then click transparent, and that will disappear. So now that black line is gone, right? It's transparent. You can't really see it. If I click back on that shape and change the fill color, so the color that's inside of it right now is filled with this light blue, I could change that fill color to black. Okay, so now I have this black outline, and it actually works really nicely with the Netflix logo, which also has these black shapes that act like the 3D and all that kind of stuff. Now, I don't want this situated right here on the page. I want to move this whole thing. So my arrow tool is highlighted. I'm going to highlight the whole thing. Okay, now everything is highlighted, and now I could move it all. Let's say I want it to be slightly off center on the rule of thirds, kind of like that. And now my emphasis is placed. I put a shape behind it, and we're all set. And I know how to manipulate the shape behind it, so we're all set. Okay. Now I'm going to do the lines of movement, the lines that separate. There are also, if you were in my Google Meet, we were talking about how radial balance also acts as a sense of movement. So what we're going to use now is something called the polyline tool. All right, I'm going to be referring back to this a lot. So what you do is you come over here to the line tool. There's this little down arrow. So I'm going to select that and come all the way down to polyline tool. Okay, now polyline tool, the way this works is you drop a point. Okay, and then once I drop a point, I'm not holding the mouse down, I'm just dragging the line. I'm gonna stop here, okay, and then what this does is it makes it have like one continuous line. All right, I'm gonna come over here to the edge of the paper, and I'm just clicking every time I come up to a corner, and I got like this sort of lightning bolt situation going on. And then once I come back to the very beginning, you'll see that it just snaps right to that first line. Once it snaps, that's what you really want. Go ahead and click it. And now this whole thing becomes a shape. So this whole thing right here, this lightning bolt, is now one shape that you can manipulate. So if I were to get the arrow tool and click that, I can change this the way that I changed this original rectangle. So I can make the border color go away, and I can make the fill color black. So now I have this sort of black lightning bolt going on. All right, and I can do it again. So I'll come over to polyline. Polyline's already there, so I'm going to click that, and I'm going to do another series of lightning bolts. So I'm just clicking every single corner. This takes a little practice. And again, you want that snap. If it's not snapping, then you don't have a full shape. Now I have the shape. Get the arrow tool. It's highlighted and border color transparent. Get rid of that and make the fill shape black. All right. So now these lines of movement, they're very sharp. So it kind of is basically saying, hey, look over here. I'm literally moving your eye across the frame. I'm going to do another one, sort of lightning bolt shape. And this sort of acts as also, it separates the different sections of your page so that you can put your rhythmic lines and patterns in those different shapes. And then again, do a little snap, boom, click that, change the border color transparent, make the fill color. All right. So that's one way to use that's one way you could do. You could use the polyline tool. Another thing you could do is if you come over here, you click line. So now we just have the line. But instead of just having like a regular line, if you come over here, it says border dash. You can click that, and then you don't have to have a solid line like this. You might want to have, let's say, dots. So if I click dots, if I were to draw a line, then when I click off of it, it is not just a solid line. It's now a series of small dots. I'm going to do the same thing again, except this time I'm going to draw another line. Whoops. Okay, and this time I'm going to have, if you go over here to border weight, maybe since 1 pixel is very thin, the higher the number, the thicker the pixels are. So let's say I did like 16, right? I can come over here and let's see, I want to click the line tool and I'm going to draw a line. And then I can come over here to border weight or line weight, sorry, and click 16 and see how thick that is. All right, so that's another way to play around with different lines. You can play around with the actual line thickness, or you can actually make it dashed or dotted. Let's get rid of that. Okay. So yeah, so these are different ways to play with different lines. I'm going to do it one more time. I'll draw a line. I'll do one right here. And then again, I can go to line dash. Maybe I can have dash dot dash and have that. And then you could see that that transformed here. And then if I go to line weight, I can even change the thickness. So there's lots of different ways to manipulate the different lines. And then if you want to make your own line with all this crazy thickness, you would use the polyline tool. All right. So this is all I'm looking for now, because you're going to come back to this project and we're going to add more to it after I give a lesson. So you have your emphasis and you just have the lines that give this a sense of movement. All right, that's all I want from you, and you can turn this in and I will grade it. If you have any questions, please let me know. All right, bye everybody.